Hey everybody, today we're doing a check-in on my yearly goals. Hi, my name is Sophie, the Bookish Floor. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through all my goals of 2024 and see how I've been doing. This is just a check-in. There's no judgment if I'm way off or if I'm hitting every goal. Life happens and sometimes you do great and sometimes you don't, so it's just kind of to check in, see if I have to readjust something, change something, or maybe think about the goals that I want to set up for myself for next year, which ones was able to attain and I can still work with, which ones might not be some that I want to continue. So that's what we're gonna do today. Okay, so my first goal is gonna be the books that I wanted to read this year. Last year I was able to read 100 books in a year. So this year I decided just to up one book a month, one more book, keep it slow, keep the progress slow and not really try and do too much. So right up to today, which is July 29th, so I'm at 58%, one book ahead of schedule, and I have read 65 books. So I think that's pretty good. I wish I was more books ahead of schedule, but if not, that's okay. Like I said, sometimes some months are great. Some months are great. Some months I can read 10, 11 books. Some months have been really bad, maybe 4 books. I think it's my lowest one. So the fact that I'm one book ahead at a little bit more than a mid-year, I think that's pretty good. If I can stay up to date on that, that would be great. Okay, another one of my goals was to read diversely. So every month I pick a theme based on different authors on different regions of the world, and I have used the American calendar of commemorative cultures in order to make it easier for me to just pick that culture that's being commemorated and just go ahead and pick reads from that. That has been highly successful. Every month I have been able to do so. Usually New Year's or for January, what I do is stories that are like brand new, new chapters, something new that's the topic. So I didn't do that for January, but for February I did like History Month. For March I did Women's Rights Month. For April I did Arab American Month. For May I did Asian Pacific Islander Month. For June I did Pride Month. And for July I did not do any commemorative theme. I did Summer Ween, which allowed me to read also a different type of genre, a bit more diversely there when it comes to genre, but not necessarily authors. And then I read mood reads and I read different types of books there. So for August, I'm going back to the commemorative and I'm doing South Asian month. So I already have my 7 picks and I'm really excited about all of them. They all sound incredible and they're all different genres too, from nonfiction to poetry to romantic comedy to novel fiction. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one. So yes, I've been able to hit that goal too, so I'm really happy about that. Okay, now for the goals that maybe I'm not doing all that great. So one of the goals is that I was supposed to read 1 book from my physical TBR a month. So that would be a total of 7 books up to now. Let me go ahead and check if I was able to do that. I'm gonna use my Instagram and all my book reviews to see if I can identify the books that I have on my physical TBR. Okay, so for January, I'm gonna use little post-it to mark them. So for January, I do have one. I read The Return of the King, which is on my physical TBR, and I hadn't read it. For February, I read The City We Became, so very good. I have it on my physical TBR and I was able to read it. For March, I picked... Okay, so for March, I can't remember which one was my pick, but I didn't pick anything. I didn't read anything from my physical TBR. So I can see it from my reviews that I don't have anything for March. In April, I read Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. I am gonna count it as my physical TBR, although I had already read it. So I'm cheating a little bit. So I'm gonna pick that one. For April, I picked The Wind in the Willows, which I do have on my physical TBR. For May, I picked Romancing Her Rival. So I'm doing pretty good with that one. For June, I have Cinder. I have actually Cinder, and I have Ursula K. Le Guin's. Wait, some of them might be from my hauls. Yeah, I think those are from my hauls. Okay, so I'm just gonna count one. And then on July, I'm sorry, I read all of them from my physical TBR. So all of my summer wind picks are from my physical TBR. So if I do that, I'm just gonna choose one, just one from my physical TBR and my haul. I think it's haul 2023. So these are my physical TBR and hauls from 2023 that I bought. Some of them are not from 2023. Some of them are newer. But I'm just gonna say yes, and let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, I have been able to do that. Not all of them. Here are my 2023 jar, and not all of them were from the jar, but they were books that I bought in 2023 or that are my physical TBR from 2024. So I'm gonna go ahead and count them there, because those that I haven't read are gonna go in that same jar next year. Books that I bought this year, I'm gonna go in that same jar next year. I'm gonna ignore the 2023 and they're just gonna be from my physical TBR. So I have been able to read 7. I actually, because Summer Wind was all physical TBR, if I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have Cinder 7. So I would add another 7. So technically I have read 14 from my physical TBR. So that's pretty good. That's more than the goal. I already accomplished the goal. I wanted to read 12. I read 14 already. So that's pretty good. Again, not all from my jar, but from my physical TBR. So that's pretty good. Now the next one is my pending TBR from 2023. So I wanted to read at least one book a month from my 2023 TBR. These are books that I wanted to read in 2023 and I was not able to read. So let me go ahead and go back again for my January picks. So for my January picks, I think, and the Jazz Palace also. I think the Jazz Palace was one from last year. And then some of them I have physically and some of them I don't. For February, from my TBR of 2023, it was Nevermore. So I was able to read that one. From March, I had from my physical from my 2023, I had Kim Ji Young, and gonna put it at half a point because I'm still reading that one, and it's from 2023. So I should just read it in one sitting so that I can just finish it. That's for March. Okay, for April, I don't have any from my 2023 pending TBR. And for May, I picked Yellow Face. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Yellow Face on my mark. For June, which was my birthday month, I had This Is How You Lose the Time War, and unfortunately I was not able to read it. So yeah, not that one from my TBR. And then for July, I didn't pick anything from my TBR. And I also started Oliver Twist, which is from my TBR from 2023, and it's also half a point. So I have read a total of 3 books from my 2023 TBR that I didn't finish, and I have started 2 books. So I'm not doing great on that goal. I realized that if I didn't pick it one year, kind of dragging it over to the next year, see if I can get it, if I can read it, is not working for me, because it doesn't fit the theme, it doesn't necessarily fit the mood. So I think what I'm gonna do for next year is not have a jar, because I don't feel like reading them, and they're becoming like something that I drag instead of something that I like. So for example, if it was a whole something that I bought but I haven't even had the intention of reading yet, that's fun because it's like a new book. When I already failed on reading it last year, and then I have to be forced to read it this year on a month based on luck, and again, it doesn't go with the theme or the mood or whatever, I find it really hard. So I think I'm just gonna have a list of the books that I have pending for 2023 2024. And when I have a mood read that I want to pick, I can go by the list and select one that I actually am in the mood to read, because that has been like my failing, the pending TBRs. It just is not working just by luck, by chance. So I think I definitely have to pick them when I want to. The other one is one mood read. I'm not gonna pick that because I think I've done that every year. The other one is one mood read, and I think I'm not gonna do that I'm not gonna count them because I'm really excited for the themes that I'm picking this month. I'm really excited for the themes that I'm picking this year. So I am in the mood to read most of them. And if I'm not in the mood for something like serious, I have another genre within the same theme. So I'm excited to do that. And I think I'm just gonna count that every month I am able to pick a mood read. But especially in June, there was my birthday picks, and July there was summer wind. All of them were mood reads, so I think pretty much all of my 12 are right there in that goal. The next one is one from a started series, so I think that one's gonna be hard because I don't think I've done well either on that part. So let me go ahead and check, go back. Okay, so in January I read The Return of the King, so I finished that series, so yay for me. I was able to read that one. So some of them can be for 2 categories. In February, I read none from a series. In March, I read Sixpence and Selkies, which is from the Manners and Monsters series. I really like that series. So I read that in February. In March, I don't have any. In April, I don't have any of those. Wait, I know that I've read those. So why aren't they not in my reviews? Have I just read one? Selkies and Sixpence and Selkies, and then Haitians, and maybe I just have read those 2. And in June I read Haitians and Hellhounds. And then in May I also started a series, which is the Bridgerton series, and I have read in May and in June from that series. And then in June I also started the Lunar Chronicle series, so I have read one of those. And then in July I read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books that are series. The next goal was to read one book in Spanish every month, and I know that I have failed that goal because I think the last time I did that was in March, but let me check. So going again in January, I read nothing in Spanish. In February I read 2. I read El Cielo es Mío and La Guerra de los Dioses. So I'm gonna count 2 there. And then in February I read Nevermore in Spanish, but it wasn't written in Spanish, so that doesn't count. For March I didn't pick anything in Spanish, or April, or May, or June, or July. So really that's been like my worst category. I read 2 books in Spanish and I wanted to read 12. So I need to read 10 books in the next 5 months. So 2 in Spanish each month. That means that it has to be written in Spanish and has to be from a Latin American, Mexican, Spanish author. So let's see if I can do that. My TBR for August is pretty full, so I don't know. So maybe if I'm more intentional about that within the next couple of months, but we'll see. Okay, and that is it for the goals that I set up for myself. I didn't really set up hours or pages or genres or anything like that. I think maybe next year I'll do that. The only thing that I did was the diverse reading, which I accomplished. The number of books, which I am up to date. I'm pretty good on that part. But yeah, those are my goals. Let me know if you guys have set up goals for yourself for your reading in 2024. How are you doing with your goals? As you can see, some of them I've been doing really well, some of them really badly. So it's really just a guideline for what you can pick for reading. It's not for you to judge yourself on or not think that you're a great reader because you're not achieving these goals. These are just guidelines to help you pick books that you want to read. So on the description you have all the information of my social media. You can go follow me there, see what books I am reading, all the reviews and all the picks that I have each month. Also remember that you can support me by liking these videos, subscribing, hitting that bell so you can get notified every time I upload a video. I upload in Spanish every Wednesday and in English every Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to keep reading and keep blooming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!